Hi everyone, it's Claire from My Heart Maggie, and today I have the Impossible card tutorial to show you. So for those who don't know, I used to work for the arts and crafts company Trimcraft, and while I worked for Trimcraft I developed this card in, I think it was 2018, for a video that we did on their YouTube channel. I've never actually made my own video, so I thought it was about time that I made my own video to show you how to make it. And I think because this card has been around for a couple of years now, it would be good to get it back out there in the public eye. So the really nifty thing about this card is that it's made from a single piece of 5x7 cardstock, but once it's twisted and built, people will be scratching their heads wondering how you can make it out of one piece of card because it's got the gaps in it. So I've used a 5x7 craft card blank by Craft, and I've basically cut it in half, and then on the shortest edge of the card I'm going to mark the halfway point, and then I'm going to draw the centre line down the longest edge, and this will be the centre part of my card. When you're actually making the card, you won't be drawing the lines on in Sharpie. That's just so you can see what I'm doing. If you do want to mark lines on your card for ease of use, then I would suggest using light pencil marks that can be rubbed out afterwards. So this line that I'm drawing here is going to be a fold line, so I've done it in a solid bar. After I've done my fold line, I'm going to measure on one side 8.9 centimetres into the middle of the card, and then I'm going to do a dashed line, and the dashed lines on this card are where you're going to cut. So just do your dashed lines to the centre of your card, then spin your card round. Now we're going to measure 4.5 centimetres in from each edge. These are again going to be your cut lines, and I'm going to do the dashes so you can see where we cut on the card. I'm just making this card as a template. I will make a new one without these markings on when I come to make my actual card. Here I've got my trusty bone folder. If you don't know what a bone folder is, it basically helps you get really sharp, crisp lines when you're scoring card. And you run the flat edge against your ruler and it'll give you a really nice crisp bend in your card. A very handy tool to have in any craft supplies. Then I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm just going to cut the dashed lines by hand. If you don't think you can cut a straight line, then by all means use a metal edge ruler and a knife. But if you've got a long pair of scissors, then you should be able to get quite a straight line with only one or two cuts. So cut the two 4.5 centimetre lines and then cut the centre line, and then we're ready to show some magic with the Impossible card. So all we're going to do is take either side of our card and we're going to flip one side over. So this will create a central flap with two gaps on either side of the card. This is basically the base of the Impossible card, and once you've got this base, then you can decorate your card however you like and create some really cool designs. So I've got this template that I've got my Sharpie pen on, and I'm going to actually cut this one up because I find it easy to use these templates for decorating my Impossible card. So if you cut off the different panels, so you've got the L and then the central panel and then the other L, Basically, all you have to do is on one L trim 5 mm off every side on the L. On the second L, trim 1 cm off every side on the L and trim 5 mm off the central flap. So I've made myself a brand new base with no Sharpie on, and as you can see I've trimmed down my layers. So on the biggest L with 5 mm cut off, that's your bottom layer, then the one with a centimetre, you layer that on top and you've got some really nice layers there for your Impossible card, and then 5 mm off the central panel, and then you can just flip these L's round to the other side when you're decorating the other side, and you can keep these forever, and then every time you make an Impossible card you'll have your templates and you'll just be able to make them really quickly the next time without any measuring. To decorate my card I'll be using Bloom and Wonder, which is my favourite ever first edition paper pad by Louise Tyler and Trimcraft. It's just full of gorgeous pastel designs, florals, butterflies, peacocks, lots of nice patterns. So I'm just going to choose a few papers now for the layers on my card. So I really love this kind of corally orange chevron design. It's kind of like a herringbone chevron. Then they've got this cutout topper sheet, which I'll use something from there. And then this grey kind of moth butterfly kind of design. It's got a really nice UV texture on it. Now I'm going to speed up cutting out my layers, but one mistake that I made here is that I put the L's onto the back of the paper, which when you actually cut them out gives you the wrong shape. So make sure that you draw your L's on the patterned front side of the paper or you'll end up with backwards L's. So I'm just layering my chevron paper down on the bottom layer. I'm just using Dovecraft Easy Fix tape to stick them down. And then on the centre I'm just using the matching paper as well to cover the centre of the flap. As you can see in the sped up clip, I remembered to put the L's on the right side of the paper, and so when I cut them out they will be usable on my card design. I did have to cut the chevron paper out again, but you live and you learn. I do really love the Impossible card. It's such a fun card to make, and I really love the way that in 2018 how it really blew up with people making YouTube videos and tutorials and making it their own as well. And I think it has died down a lot now, but it'd be really cool to bring it back for new card makers who might not have actually seen it the first time round. So it's a really fun card, easy to make, and it looks really impressive when you have it on display. Another good thing about the card is you don't actually need a lot of tools to be able to make this card. If you've got some scissors and some paper and some glue, you're really good to go. So I'm just going to choose some toppers that I'm going to use for the card. This Celebrate would be really good for the gap on the Impossible card. I could also maybe use this Hooray, but then I do really love this topper and I think it would look great on the flap. So I'm going to cut it out and I'm just literally going to stick it in the centre. It does cover over my moths, but you know, I think it's worth it just to have that central topper. I'm going to use some foam tape to add a little bit of depth to the topper as I stick it on the card. So I'm just going to add my topper to the flap. I'm going to have it on a little bit of a slight angle. Then I'm going to take the Celebrate topper that I cut out from the top sheet and I'm going to use it to bridge the gap in the front of the Impossible card. So I think that will look really cute. I'm going to add a little bit of double-sided tape to the either side of the topper. Make sure you don't stick the glue in the middle or you'll stick to the surface where the gap is in your Impossible card. Just take your topper and then stick it either side of the gap, and then it adds like an extra decorative feature to the card design. So you can see you've got your front gap and your back gap, and then you can tell people that it was made with one piece of card, and they will be left scratching their head guessing how that works. Just going to add a few gems to the Celebrate topper just to add a little bit of detail. You can really go mad and just decorate the card how you like. I've seen some brilliant designs. If you search Impossible card on YouTube or Instagram, you'll get some great inspiration ideas. Add a few more gems to the topper. You can never have too many gems in my opinion. I'm going to add a little wooden love heart to the bottom side of the card. So I'm just going to use some Trimcraft Permafix tape just because it's really strong and it'll hold heavier embellishments on the card really well. And then I'm going to stick that in the bottom right hand corner of the card. I'm then going to add an 8 and a 0. This card's actually for my boyfriend's grandma who turns 80, so that'll just add a really nice personalised touch to the card. So it's a real celebration card. And there we have the finished Impossible card. It's been really nice to actually make an Impossible card. After I made one for Trimcraft, I never really made any more, so it is really nice to actually come back and make the card that kind of blew up in 2018. And a lot of people didn't know that I was the one who kind of came up with the idea for it because it was through my work, but it's really nice to kind of bring this card back to life after a couple of years. So like I said, you don't need many tools to be able to make this card. You need some card, some papers, embellishments, and some glue and some scissors, and you're away. So I hope you enjoy it. If you like this video, like and subscribe, and I'll be back soon with more videos. Thank you very much.